Hello and welcome to this year's first ever virtual dreaming Salesforce. I'm super excited to be here today and I'll be presenting on the topics Introvert to Salesforce SME. And to get you started, I'll just go through our sponsors here, and then we also have our not-for-profit charity partners on here. If you have a minute, if you could log on to the Mercy Corps website and kindly find a way to just support the cause out there. So, my name is Adakole Kennedy. I'm a Salesforce SME at a company called Martello Technologies here in Ottawa, Canada. And you have my Twitter handle on there and my LinkedIn handle as well. What I'm hoping to convey today is a couple of points, but it's more just really going through my journey and how I've walked through Salesforce the past 8 years, and how my personality has been able to go through it, contribute, adapt, and also learn a lot from it, the whole process. So I'll be talking about who we think introverts might be, and how managers and teams need to understand the roles introverts play. Who are they? How can we leverage their strengths? How can we use help them, overcome a couple of weaknesses? How can they, contribute more effectively? How they can improve your team? And lastly, I'd like to say, if I can, based on all my background, what I've done to get to this point, then any introvert out there can do it. Now, so who am I? Just before I carry on, at the end of this, there is you will get a code that you can use to get into a chance to win iPods, iPads, certification vouchers and the like. So if you stick around, hang around, we can get there. So who am I? I grew up in this city called Jos City. It's one of the cities in Middle Belt, or the middle part of Nigeria. I'm Canadian, but Nigerian born. And it's such a beautiful city. If you ever get the opportunity to go out there, you can do a lot of hiking and, getting on the different rocks and the sceneries you can see on here. There's so much more. The city is just surrounded by rocks, which I'd loved to go on top of each one of them. So I'm married with 2 boys. It's 10 and 7, great kids. It's been fun having them around through this whole COVID period, and they've just been excellent. My wife as well. We all live out here in Ottawa, and we just love the city. I love to travel, and for that, I've been on 3 continents already. I lived in Europe for a couple of years, about 8 years, and I love to read. I'm just reading the book now, How to be a Chief Operating Officer. It's a good book. I love outdoors and sports. I like to play squash, cycle a lot, especially with the whole COVID thing. I just cycle as far as I can get. And I love football. None of that I can play now. I'm currently studying Shotokan karate, definitely until I get whacked in the face. I've always wanted to be a pilot. If I do get the opportunity, I'll be sure to take up on it and just fly for the fun of it. So I have flown many planes, but they're all in my head, and a lot of YouTube videos and games. We take a deeper dive into my educational and professional background. I've got a master's in strategic IT management, where I just went in and learned a lot about, business processes and engineering and consulting and project management and all the fun stuff, IT alignment and consulting. I've got an undergraduate in BS in architecture. And I did learn a lot from here, and then I built on top of that with my MSc. And one of the biggest skills I learned there was the ability to, almost be a BA, business analyst. You're asking your clients about what kind of colors they would like, what space size, where they would like this, where they would like the windows, the size. It was a lot of requirement gathering, and then being able to translate that into a building or a drawing. I've got a couple of Salesforce certifications. I have slowed down the last couple of years because I've had very interesting projects I've worked upon at work. I've got a CCNA, that's where I started my IT, Cisco Certified Network Associate, and then I've got my ITIL. So let's take a deep dive into, the topic of the day. Who is an introvert? What makes you an introvert? Why do you think you're an introvert? If you are an introvert, what is it? So I ask you now, what do you think an introvert is? I think some people, the biggest notion is introverts are shy. Not necessarily. They're just people who, as I'll show you in a bit, and I'm hoping that, it aligns with some of my experience as a person and the findings and research out there. So here's a definition from a website, I think the Health Index website or so, I can't remember correctly now, but it says an introvert is often thought of as a quiet, reserved, and thoughtful individual. I agree. They don't seek out special attention or social engagement, as these events can leave introverts feeling exhausted and drained. Personally, every one of these words, that's me. I just don't want to take the spotlight. I don't want to, seek social engagement because it's just too much energy. I will take the time to go, but it's just exhausting and draining. Now, so signs that you're an introvert. You enjoy being alone. I like being alone. So socializing, just like I said, becomes a bit of a burden in certain circumstances. It's a lot of energy. You work better alone. So yes or no in some instances, but I think what I'm trying to say here is, you're part of a team, but to get the most out of you, you need to just pull away and do your thing and then come back. You spend more time analyzing projects or situations. Absolutely. I sometimes think, and both my managers, the extroverted manager and the introverted manager, which I'll talk about in a bit, they would always say, you know what, you're overthinking it now. Just put it out there. You're overthinking it out. Let's put version 1 out there and see what we get. You don't like the spotlight. For me, if I make my manager happy, if my manager is looking good, job done, it's thumbs up for me. So my Salesforce journey, environment and managers. So this part, I'm just going to talk a bit about, what it means to have managers that understand the introvert and are able to recognize their strengths and their weaknesses and be able to provide the environment or situations for where these people can thrive. And I think it's important to understand who these guys, who the introvert is, and how you can best use them in a team. And so I've got 2 managers. I had 2 managers, solid managers. I call them the 2 Ds on the screen there. One, Daniel Probert, the other one, Dennis King. Daniel, highly extroverted, a guy who just owned the stage, just rocked the show, and he was just fun to be around. And then you have Dennis, same owning the stage personality, but he is, introverted, quite, just dug into his work, and he quickly, they both understood my personality and just created the environment. So extrovert Dan, he knew that I was quiet and shy, and so he put me in a position where I would talk a bit, slowly pull that out of me. And I remember one time we moved offices and he said, you know what, whilst we were looking at the sitting arrangement, he's like, okay, I take that one because I'm the boss, but you get the first peek after me. And that was, I doubt he knew what that impact was, but because it was an open space, the moment I walked into that space, I'm like, how am I going to adjust to this space? But that was super useful. And for Dennis just said, you know what, I don't care where you work from. Because when I was going through the interview process, I said, do you allow working from home? You know, and he says, you know what, I just get the job done. I give you a project and you're done. You like it, you just carry on with it. And if you need any help, you come back. And with this too, I done a lot of projects. I did get quite a number of things in play over these 7 or 8 years as a Salesforce expert. They learned quickly to put me forward. You know, they made me the face of Salesforce in the organization. And it was hard. It was a lot of energy to have to sit down with end users and find out what they need, shadow them, you know, because if you were shadowing me, I get, you know, uncomfortable. And so I had to be, my emotional intelligence and quotient had to just be on point when I was shadowing people, whether it was in a group, I was talking to people just trying to get information out of a group, or, you know, an individual. I just had to learn using my introverted skills of listening, understanding, asking questions, making sure that I thought before I spoke, rather than just, you know, speaking and then thinking, oh, I should have backtracked that one. You know, so it was important that these managers knew and understood me. They had their strengths, they knew my strengths and weaknesses, they knew, you know, how to leverage them and how to, you know, put it to the best use. So I'll move on to, so what are the things that, one of the benefits of, you know, having introverts in your team? And the earlier your teammates understand this, the earlier you understand this about yourself, the earlier your managers understand this, I think they get the best out of people that are introverts. We tend to process information longer, but more carefully and thoughtfully. Like I said, my managers will say, you're overthinking it now, Ada. You're overthinking it. You're overanalyzing it. You need to take a step back now and just put it out there and get your feedback. They're good. So that's a downside. It's a good side because they think carefully, but when they overthink it or overanalyze it, especially in fast-paced organizations where everything's happening on the go, on the fly, it takes a bit of training and a bit of skill to build that up over time. And, you know, they're good listeners. I listen a lot. Again, it's got its good sides, but if you're working in a fast-paced environment, which is a lot these days, you have to learn to either speak quickly or first. Sometimes you get the opportunity to do it, at other times you don't. They look and think before they jump or speak. They're highly observant. You know, we make quality friends. We're loyal, attentive, and committed. You know, I'm not one who wants to jump ship all the time, or, you know, jump from one team to the other or one project to the other. I like to get a lot of experience, but naturally would want to be loyal to a cause and are committed to it. We're compassionate leaders. I've had the opportunity to lead small teams where people are reporting to me, and, you know, you put your, and I noticed the same thing from both managers, but more from Dennis, where he understood and quickly would appreciate where an individual is coming from, and they would listen. So you walk into his office, you don't feel like he's not listening to you. He's got so much on his plate, but if you're in his space at that time, he's giving you 110% attention. And they're compassionate. They would go out of their way to make you feel comfortable, make you feel like, yeah, you matter. Some notable introverts I've got on the screen there. And when I research these people, yeah, they are introverts to a large extent. So in terms of learning, again, one of the key skills is listening and sharing. You know, introverts tend to listen, and we tend to write a lot, put things down, so we share. Certifications, I've done quite a number of certifications just to get my my understanding of the Salesforce platform and ecosystem. I've learned to put myself forward. This was the hardest part, putting myself forward, because I just wanted the back say, do your thing, go. You know, I've learned to do requirement gathering, you know, continuous learning, be challenged, be passionate, try things out myself. Yeah, you'll fail. Some might work, some won't, but you have to keep going. And then I leverage the Salesforce Ohana. I can't overemphasize that part where it's such a fantastic community. You can go out to the user communities, user groups, and just learn and learn and learn. There's so much content out there for you to learn. You need to be genuine. Just be you. You're an introvert. Enjoy it. Rock it. Enjoy it. Don't feel like, oh, you don't fit in, you don't matter. You do. And be a decision maker as you go up the ladder, as you become a leader a bit more, as you manage projects, as you're tasked with different tasks. You need to be decisive. You need to get the ball moving. You need to know your business inside out. You need to know the products, almost like an SE. You need to be able to take that product and be able to sell it. Know from the part where it is, the concept, the products, the developers, the manufacturing. Just know the product, know the business, and also know your audience when you're preparing reports and dashboards. Who is taking it? Who's digesting it? The different levels of that, and you need to be aware of it. What's next for me? I'm trying to get through my the different architect tracks, have more fun and remain humble. Keep asking the why and the how questions. Never stop doing that. I just realized the last few years, you know, it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to sit down there. Just get up and go. Introverts, we like to just overthink and overanalyze. Keep going, keep doing what you do. Just also know that you matter. Everywhere you work and whatever you do matters. The organization matters, the customers, internal or, you know, external, they do matter. Be fair and have empathy for your users and community. And that's it for me on this short video. I hope you find it useful. And if you have questions, please feel free to throw them out. And again, I said at the beginning, there's this opportunity to win this. I'll paste the code out now, and it's only valid for the next 5 to 60 minutes. Enjoy and have fun. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And Salesforce Ohana. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.